Hey, how's it going, guys? Let me know if you can hear me. We're gonna get started here fairly soon. Good to see everybody. How's it going, Zyler? Zylkerom? I like the name. It's a tough one to pronounce. Music's a bit loud. Okay, we can probably turn down the music. Let's jump in here. We might have to turn down the entire game volume a bit. Look at that. Nice. Okay, guys, thanks a bunch. So, we're going to be jumping in here in about 3 minutes. I'll just give a few more minutes for people to get here, and then, of course, we will jump into the game. Good evening, the Redster. What movie does that come from where the guy goes, good evening? I'm trying to think, because that's what it reminds me of. Let's see if I can figure this out. Okay, very cool, guys. So we're probably going to jump in about a minute from now. And I'm still not sure what side I'm going to be playing, but I think I'm going to play as the British. We haven't played as the UK in quite a while. We played as the Prussians and the French, but not the British nearly as much. So I remember now. It's a clip from Clockwork Orange where he says, "Good evening." All right, well, good evening to you as well, or good morning, depending on where you are. We're going to go ahead and jump right in, guys, to Scourge of War, Waterloo. Of course, we've got the Collector's Edition here, so we basically have every single mod ever to come out for this game. If you want to purchase the Collector's Edition, now's a good time to pick it up, and Musa will give you guys a link. So we're going to jump into single player. I am going to go ahead and go for the Waterloo battles once again. How's it going, Zach? Good to see you, man. And I think we're going to play Ligny this time. We sort of avoided Ligny in our last Let's Play. So I think I want to take... maybe we'll play... Yeah, you know what? We're going to play as the French, although as the French we have to take over the town of Ligny. And this one seems a lot more fun, where we have to defend the village from a French assault as the Prussian Corps. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Prussian Corps. I did say I was going to take the British, but I'm going to be taking the Prussians. And yes, Pixel, absolutely. They look very tough. I believe those are the Highlanders, the initial ones on the front art. But it's really, really good. Give that link. I want to feel poor tonight, says do a barrel roll. Yes, indeed. Don't we all? Don't we all? All right, so here we go. We're just waiting for the courier. He's on his way right there. You can actually see him running up. Your brave men delayed the French army during all the day of 15th of June. Now they're called to hold the line of River Ligny until the British army will join us. Hold the outpost in the village of Saint-Armand against the French attack. In the village itself, you have some battalions of the 3rd Brigade. The 1st and 2nd Brigade are in reserve behind the river. Interesting. So, pretty straightforward. We need to try and hold the town. As far as I can understand, hold the town of Ligny. I want to make sure that's definitely it over there. So we're going to start moving, guys. Let's go ahead and grab our generals and start moving forward. We should be controlling this guy. I thought so. So remember, we're doing just the core right here. So since we're doing just core, we might not be controlling nearly as many men as we were before in the last battle. But I'm not seeing any real control here. There we go. So we control some artillery for sure. Let's go ahead and start setting them up. No, we don't! My goodness! Why not? Yeah, we may need to start another battle. Well, that's surprising to me, to say the least. Maybe we control just these guys back here. Nope, definitely not. And this is not a game bug. This is just, essentially we took a core. A core is quite small. And I was anticipating that with a core we'd have a few more men, but it really looks like for the most part, we don't really control much at all during this battle. So if I don't find a core that we can actually lead here soon, I'll pop out and we'll join a different one. Let's try to grab... Should be able to control the cannons? Nope. That's weird. Very weird. It's not like we don't control anything during this battle, right? That wouldn't be a very fun battle. No. Okay, that's just weird. So I'm going to end the battle, and we'll try another one. This time we'll just jump right into Ligny once again, and let's go for the French Corps this time. So we'll actually be in charge of attacking Ligny instead of defending. Now, attacking in a Napoleonic conflict, really any conflict before this time period, is going to be much more challenging, and we're definitely going to have more casualties. There's no doubt about that. Time engagement issues, says Jet Stewart. Possible, very possible. But it also could just be that maybe we had to wait for reinforcements. Maybe our corps was on the way, something like that. We certainly did not control the rest of the corps, if that makes sense. Okay, so we just have to go straight ahead towards Ligny. Okay, the attack of General Van Damme's corps has already started, or the division of General Péchot, to advance and occupy the town of Ligny. Beautiful. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to grab General Maurice Etienne Gerard, and we're going to start moving forward here. Over here, we're going to grab this general. And this is Jean-Francois Rome, or Rome, I believe would be more correct, and there we go. So finally, we've got some boys on the move. I also want to move our artillery forward. I mean, the fact is, the closer we get with our arty, the better, but it looks like we're not in control of the arty during this battle. So that's fine. We're just in control of the infantry there on the left, maybe also this infantry unit, but I think it's just the infantry there on the left. Yep, sure enough. So guys, this is all under control of the AI, as you guys can see. And we have a very specific job, and that's to take these guys right here and try and, of course, get into town. As you can see, the enemy, the Prussians, actually have that castle back there. We are absolutely going to want to take that back. And actually, we might also control these guys. Let's see if we do. Oh, very nice. Let us go. Okay, let's take a closer look here at the movement. Oh, wow, that's beautiful. So, of course, we're controlling basically the left flank of the army. Getting to that building is going to be important, but for those of you that have seen our Scourge of War Waterloo videos in the past, taking a building in this game is challenging. You can't really just take a building with infantry. You need artillery support. You need consistent infantry fire, and eventually the enemy will evacuate the building. The game goes out of its way to be ultra-realistic, and one of the things that people don't seem to realize, especially during the time of muskets, is taking a fortified position like a building was extremely hard. You've got to realize that, you know, as you approach that building, it's going to be boarded up. There's going to be people firing at you. It's not going to be easy to get in, and many battles have been won with a force essentially just remaining in a building and fighting off the attacking force. So if we are going to attack that place, we better attack it in style and do a lot of damage right away. A baguette for all, says Jet Stewart. Absolutely. Skip the bayonets and fling our baguettes at them, says Pixel. Now we're playing with the French. We're getting a lot of French jokes here. Baguettes are strong as steel. We've been marching for months. They can actually kill somebody. Believe it or not, I think if you have a baguette, it's been it's not moldy, but been out for months, it's gonna possibly be lethal if you throw it at somebody's head. So here we go, guys. We do control this unit of cannons, which is great. That means we can get the cannons up close and personal to, I'm calling that a castle for now. I'm sure it's more like probably a church or even a school, like a university, something like that. But we're getting our men close there, and of course with the artillery, it's going to be a lot easier to break through. But another issue is distance. We want to make sure that the arty is close enough to be firing shell shot at that building to really hurt the enemy inside. The infamous Baguette Lancers, says Musso. Absolutely. The most ferocious of all of France's warriors, the Baguette Lancers. They're so ferocious, so vicious, that we're not even going to be able to see them in this match. In fact, we tried to put them in this match, but then Steam was like, no, we're not supporting your game if you keep the Baguette Lancers. They're too bloody, they're too vicious. It's not fair to our customer base, and we agreed. It was just sort of a back and forth. But they were vicious, and right now we kind of have to make do with just typical regular Lancers, which I guess we'll have to accept that. Exactly. So here we go. Our boys are moving, and of course, for those of you that are new to this particular game, one of the really cool aspects is each of your units will have a battle or a number of battles on their flag. This represents how many battles they've participated in. As you can see, this unit right here has been in every single one of Napoleon's battles. The 6e Légère, the Brigade Schaefer. So basically, this sort of denotes experience. You know, if a unit has only been in one battle, they're not going to be that experienced when it comes to actual combat. You know, it's going to take them a while to sort of learn the intricacies. Whereas if one of your guys has been to a ton of battles, he's going to be very experienced. And for the most part, he might even be able to train those younger guys on how to fight. Hey, Self-Searcher, how you doing? Says Pixel. Indeed. Yeah, there are some French cheeses I can't touch, and I am a cheese guy myself, but Gruyere cheese, for instance, is just, it assaults my nostrils. I'll still eat it, but I just won't smell it. I'll hold my nose as I eat it. Come on, men. As you can see, in this battle, we are attacking, so it takes a little bit longer for our men just to get to the field. And of course, we don't just have to worry about this location. I mean, certainly, taking this area would really help us, but there's also a victory point location over there, although I believe that our allies are responsible for that one, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully, they're moving as well. Ah, Musso, is that I believe it's Sardinian cheese, the Katsu Marzo. Is that what it is? Katsu Marzo? I've seen it a lot of times, or I've seen people eating it. I would try it. I would honestly try it. It doesn't look that bad. I know people are like, oh my gosh, worms, but I think it's maggots. And, you know, they eat the cheese. So if the maggots are eating the cheese the entire time, they're going to taste like cheese. Oh, cool, man. That's really cool. That is awesome. So he gets to try the Katsu Marzo. Very cool. So Katsu Marzo, for those of you that don't know, is basically a cheese where the top is cut off. It's a specific kind of cheese initially. I'm sure Musso here knows the name. And what they do is they cut the top off that cheese. They put the cheese in a smokehouse. And the reason they cut the top off is so the flies will lay their maggots inside the cheese. Those maggots begin to eat the cheese. They get fat on the cheese. And then you, of course, eat the cheese yourself. And yeah, Self-Searcher's right. It is outlawed in a few countries. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's outlawed here in mainland Italy, just not in Sardinia. It might even be illegal in Sardinia, in fact. Of course, Sardinia is part of Italy, but it's an island sort of off the coast. So maybe they allow it just there. Oh no, so Musso's giving us bad reviews on it. So he's saying it's pretty disgusting, the smell is even worse. So no redeeming qualities at all, eh, Musso? I was hoping that it would be like, oh, you know, it's not too bad. I would be afraid to try it, I will say that, but I would do it. Like, just to dare myself, I'd be like, come on, just eat a little bit. All right, we're going to move up over here as well. So we're definitely getting some shots now. And incredibly, our artillery arrived before our men did. Shame on our men. Shame on them. I guess they trained to be slackers. Come on, start firing. Absolutely legal. Oh, man. Yeah, and there's a lot of stories, and I don't necessarily believe this, that people eat Katsu Marzo, and then, you know, basically the maggots start to eat through their intestinal lining. I don't think that's true. I think it's probably like an urban legend. Unlikely that actually happens. Oh, welcome, Self-Searcher. I live in Italy, but I don't speak a word of Italian. Well, I say buongiorno, ciao, Grazie mille, mi dispiace, but anything else, yeah, I'm pretty much lost to the world. Okay, here we go. Look at that. We've actually got, believe it or not, some enemies. It's just a skirmisher unit. But skirmisher units can really gnaw at your forces. So we're going to aim at the Prussian skirmisher unit and start firing. Better than your English, you say. Do you work in an English office or an Italian office? Hey, Yogic Fire, how you doing, bud? Good to see you again, man. And now, unfortunately, these skirmishers can get really good volleys off on us, to be honest. So we need to finish them off quickly. Ah, Italian office with EU customers. Very cool. Go. Hey, Vintartar! Good to see you, man. It's been a long time. We've got a lot of people showing up that we haven't seen in a while. I'm guessing you guys were excited about the Scourge of War Waterloo Let's Play here, and this is definitely a game that we know there's a player base for. We know you guys like this game a lot, and I don't blame you. I mean, it's beautiful. Right now, we're trying to take over this old Prussian castle. It's actually probably not old or Prussian, but it's a castle for sure. Actually, it's probably a university. Let's keep on moving and try to hit it. So I'm going to try to attack it from multiple sides. So that's a good question, Self-Searcher. There are 3 DLCs for the game. There's Wavre, Quatre-Bras, and Ligny. Right now we're playing Ligny. So Ligny is actually not my favorite of the 3. My favorite of the 3 is definitely Wavre. But I can understand why people like Ligny. This is definitely much more a DLC made for somebody who likes to attack a lot. In most games, I like to attack. It's only in the Napoleonic Wars where I'm much more defensive, because I know how difficult it is to walk across an entire field while being shot at the entire time. So let's get these guys up first. It looks like one of our not-so-experienced units will be the first up here. Oh yeah, you should definitely get the bundle. I mean, if you're going to end up buying the game, you might as well. You might as well get the bundle. Why skimp out? Grab it all, especially Wavre. Okay, so over here, we're going to grab this guy, and I'm going to send him over in this direction. So some of our army is going to focus on the university that's been taken over by the enemy. The rest of our men will move over here, and I'm hoping eventually we can beat these guys and assist our men moving through here. Okay, these guys can begin firing. Let's halt. Nice. You guys can actually see our artillery rounds striking the side there. That is great. I want these guys to turn right here. Get some nice volleys. Come on, boys. Fire away. Anytime now. Anytime. Ah, thanks, Jet. So in other words, we probably want to move a little bit farther forward, because we're not getting any shots with these rifles. Let's move a little bit forward. So let's get right up close and personal. Ah, you guys are playing Dominions. You know, I've always wanted to try that game. It seems really interesting. It actually kind of reminds me of like Heroes of Might and Magic 3, but I just never got into it. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I much more prefer realistic conflicts. Or if it's gonna be like an alternate history, I don't mind that, as long as there's no like monsters or wizards, that sort of thing. I mean, I love the idea in like a movie, but for a game, it's just not my thing, really. Look at this, guys. Our guys over here by the homes are firing away at this particular area, although you can see a lot of shots coming from the chateau, and we're definitely taking some hits over here on this side. Let's see if these guys have reached the line. Oh, yes, they have, and look at that. We've already begun engaging the enemy. Our generals moved forward a bit too much, but this is good news. So we're engaging the enemy units right here, although the enemy's moving in on that side as well. Let's see if we can move anyone else up. Oh, mon Dieu. This is not good. Go, men. Let's take a look at our boys here. Vive la France! They are getting right up close and personal. The enemy might be trying to charge here. I think I'm going to go for a volley shot. Let's hold our fire. Reload, guys. Reload. Give them a taste of French metal. You can see they're getting some great shots on us here. And, oh my goodness. That's their volley fire. Let's give them a bit of ours. There we go. That was vicious, though. Definitely a nice volley fire by the enemy. We can barely see with all the gunpowder here, but they definitely got the best of us. And they've also got these guys assisting them, the Landwehr Regiment. This is a Fusilier Regiment, similar to a Scout Regiment, but really just essentially marksmen. So they know what they're doing for sure. Hello, Bart. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks, Bart. Yeah, we'll try to be much more careful with that. So we're just going to try move a little bit less. Let's see if we can't get this unit up. Okay, let's see if these guys are going to begin firing. I am going to select the volley fire, because I really want to throw as much as I can downrange at the 1st Battalion. You know, if we could get rid of them, I'll feel a little safer. The fact is, we're outnumbered here by the Prussians, and we're also attacking them. So we want to be careful here. Let's go ahead. Fire! Good shooting. So someone mentioned retreat, and I think it's Self-Searcher mentioned retreat and advance the rear lines. Sadly, we don't really have many rear lines. These are the men we have control of right now. Now, what we could do is move some of them up to the fight over here. I don't want to get them too far from their general, though. So let's grab this unit here. We'll move up. It's a shame we can't charge the enemy chateau or college here, but like I said, more realistic that way. We really basically need to shoot them out. We need to shoot them so much that they eventually decide, all right, this isn't worth it. Let's get out of here. Yeah, it's funny because before I came to the company, Surtur would do some. I'm pretty sure he did some Scourge of War streams. I'm almost certain he did. I know a lot of other streams that he did, but he knows a lot more about this game than I do. That being said, I think we're both huge fans of this game. It's just a really, really entertaining one. It's beautiful. We've had so many people come on here and comment like, "Wow, I've never heard of this game. This is really cool," and that's exactly how I felt the first time I saw it. Here we go. So we're doing pretty well, it looks like, against the 2nd Battalion, although it's not like we haven't had some losses as well. And again, not having our baguette lancers, it's painful, but it's a sacrifice we must make. I don't know why these guys are going here. I think I'll take charge from the AI, just to make sure they absolutely follow my orders. No, sadly we don't Yogic Fire. No cavalry here. And we're only controlling the left, or I should say the westernmost portion of the French army. This is our control point here. Let's grab some more boys. Enemy's getting so many good hits on us because of this positioning. These guys have to get closer. Yeah, I would agree with Winterthur in the sense when it comes to strategy games and campaigns. And by the way, Scourge of War Waterloo does have a campaign, but we mostly stick to the battles just because we love the battles. We really do. But I like a campaign primarily because, you know, I could sort of imagine, like, let's say I take a country, especially in a strategy game, if I take some sort of country or a location from the enemy, you know, I can imagine how the culture of that region is going to change over time, how the people in that region are going to be shocked at my arrival, that sort of thing. So I think a story is pretty important. If it's just sort of like skirmish mode with nothing else, I get a little bit turned off. It's kind of like, that's cool, but, you know, I'd prefer a little bit more. Move this guy up as well, and my goodness, these guys are getting the heck beaten out of them by the enemy. You can see this unit over here has actually lost so many men, he's fallen back. The trumpet makes you laugh every time, says Musa. Dun, 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 dun. Man, you better, if you're in the Prussian army and you hear that trumpet, you better not laugh. I think you'd probably be brought before a firing squad. Back in these times, you don't laugh at the bugle call. I think it's actually a bugle. I could be wrong. There is a difference between a trumpet and a bugle. Bugle basically just has one note. You know, a trumpet has those buttons on it. There we go. We can actually start firing from here. Let's stop. Let's get them on. Yeah! Volley fire. Nice. And look at that. I'm amazed these Prussians have not fallen back yet. But they've done some pretty good damage to us here. These are all Frenchmen here. Nasty, nasty losses. Fire Shark says, I've never played a Napoleonic War game, but this one looks really good. It is. It's really fun, Fire Shark. And as I was mentioning earlier, this is the perfect time to pick it up. You should pick up basically this and the DLC. This is actually one of the DLC known as Lini. But there are 3 others, and just the entire game is so much fun. If you plan to play the entire Battle of Waterloo, and I've said this many times, if you're new to the game, don't jump right into it. Like, if you're new to the game, just take a division, you know, just a division or a corps, see how you do with that, and then move on to the army level stuff. Because if you start right away with army level stuff, you will be overwhelmed. There's a lot to do, a lot of movements to make, and you want to make sure you're making the right ones. I'm actually going to turn these guys a little to the left. I think they'll get a better shot. Feuer men! Sends them back to Prussia. There we go. That's the volley fire. So, of course, the volley fire is firing all at once, basically. Fire at will, which is what they're doing right now after that volley shot, is basically, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. These guys, as soon as they reload, they fire at the enemy and try to cause some damage. But I prefer the volley fire, especially in this situation, because we're about to break that Prussian unit. I think we're about to break them. Certainly hope so. Unfortunately, over here we're having some trouble. Although, look at that! It looks like the Oberstleutnant Arnold Volkart von Schutter is running away here from the fort. And this could be a sign of things to come. The enemy might be about to pull out of the fort. Obviously, if they do, we're going to take it. And that's going to be our location. Move. Yes, Yogic Fire makes an excellent point. The scale of the game is really, it's real scale. In fact, when the game first came out, this was before I even joined the company, there was, I believe it was a 8-hour or 9-hour stream during the day where the developers played the entire Battle of Waterloo as the French, and it's just, when you see the amount of men they had on that battlefield on the French side, and you could play it here as well, it amazes you. I mean, you'll be scrolling for a good minute or two just to get through your entire line of men, just to see every single one of your men. It's really quite amazing. See how we're doing over here against the Prussians. So the good news is we forced the Prussians back over here. The bad news is they're returning, and our own unit here, the, of course, Brigade Rome, fell back as well. So we lost some men, they lost some men, and, of course, we both had to fall back. Wow, Vinterthar says, I have almost 700 hours in Order of Battle and 200 hours on Sanctus Reach. Do you guys think I will enjoy Fields of Glory? Yeah, I like Yogic Fire's suggestion to look at the streams. That's definitely going to tell you. First of all, I think you're mentioning Field of Glory too, because, you know, Field of Glory, it is essentially, you know, the prequel to Field of Glory 2. but I'm guessing that's the one you're talking about. Field of Glory is also a really fun game. But that being said, you know, I think you need to try it out. Like, games like Order of Battle, things like that, you know, those are, well, especially Order of Battle is a World War II game, whereas Field of Glory 2 is set in the ancient period, so I think you definitely need to try the game out. Now, I am going to go for a charge. Yes, I am. No, I don't want to charge at them. Turn again, turn again, turn again. There we go, boys. Oh, they're running back. The enemy's running away. Wow. We just basically scared them with the threat of a charge. I like that. That's pretty cool. Try to get as many of them as possible. I know it's not noble to fire at guys when their back is turned, but let's face it, they outnumber us. We need to take out as many as possible. Alright, men, how are you doing over here? As soon as we spot the enemy, we'll let that volley open up. How could you come back? You guys are crazy. Yeah, we absolutely do need to kick them out of the chateau, but easier said than done. It is not an easy task. The good news is they've lost that central point there, and now I'm going to go ahead and let them have a volley. Boom! Right away. Nice shots there. Yeah, let's take a look at the chateau. It's a good point. And I think we could take the chateau! Good point. Good point, Pixel. I think we can actually take the chateau right now. The enemy is left. Bring these guys in. I do want to bring them in with a general, but then it's going to order every single one of them to move, so let's just keep a few of them back here. Try to at least get to this part of Ligny. So Ligny is, of course, a town near Waterloo. Waterloo is also a town. In this town of Ligny, we need to try and get across the river here and hit the enemy artillery back here, but we've got plenty of time to decide what we're going to do there. Yeah, what Moose is saying is true. Keep in mind also, guys, that, you know, the holidays are coming up here. So in terms of streams coming up, I think it's going to be maybe a couple of weeks pretty soon here where we're not going to have any streams. You know, I always, of course, will probably be streaming on my own channel on Agrippa Maxenius, just for fun. But in terms of the actual professional streams we do here at the company, I don't think so. We're probably going to have to wait a bit. Of course, when we come back from vacation, sometime probably, you know, early to late January for most of us, we'll definitely do some Field of Glory 2 streams again, for sure. Alright, let's turn this way. And I think at this point, we can actually move the artillery up. Excuse me. Originally, we were using this artillery to fire at the chateau, but now that the chateau's under our control, yeah, I think we could start moving up a bit. So we're going to actually move this arty here. It's not under our control yet. It will be once we get there with our men. Also want to move our general there. Sometimes you do need the general to be in the position you're taking to actually properly take it. It has to do with the amount of men you have in the area. I've certainly lost a few fights just because I didn't have enough men to control the area itself. But that's not the case here. Well, I hope it's not the case. Alright, come on, boys. Our men refuse to go in there, and I think it's because, yeah, that's why, because we've got Prussian units right there. They're not actually in the chateau, but they're close enough to worry our guys. So our guys are not going into the chateau itself. I'm still going to try to force them to get in there with a double quick run, but I doubt it. Double quick run. Let's take control from the AI. Come on, boys. Get in there, man. Don't be afraid. Stop walking in place. Go in the chateau. I see what you are doing. Trying to trick me. Alright, nice. Getting really nice shots on those Prussians. And look at that. These guys are off. It actually looks like, wow, our guys may have charged them. They definitely did. So, you see right here this button, which essentially takes charge from the AI. This is a very, very useful button. For the most part, you're going to be in control of 80-90% of what your units do. But if the AI thinks you're making a mistake, like let's say the AI thinks you're moving too far forward, your units will actually stop. So if you want full control of the unit, you want to hit that button. And it actually worked out for us this time, because since I sent my forces to move up here where the enemy was, they actually ended up charging them, which is quite funny. As you can see, we're firing at those guys. They're trying to regroup, but I don't see them regrouping anytime soon. Alright, let's go over here. Alright, we're headed towards that second flag, and it actually looks like another fort. So it's a bit of a smaller fort, but still very strong here. And we might as well grab the artillery and move the artillery over to that next fort. So somebody mentioned scale earlier, and scale in this game is huge. It really is. I mean, if you just look at the men dead or wounded on the field, that in itself is a selling point for me that I love, especially at the end of a large battle. Believe it or not, this battle is actually a pretty small one. Once you actually get into the full Battle of Waterloo, the casualties you see here are going to look like absolutely nothing. They're going to look like a small gunfight, essentially. And even those of you that were here with us at the last Scourge of War stream can attest to that. That when you're done with the battle, the field is just littered with corpses, basically. And I like that. Not only does it bring a sense of realism, but really shows the terror of war. You know, this is Scourge of War, and it certainly is a scourge for just about anybody involved, except of course the victors. As long as they don't come home wounded, then it's pretty much a victory for them. Okay, there we go, guys. It's now in French control, as you can see. We've got the French flag over here. The problem is now we don't know how many units we need to keep back to hold the position. So once if we start losing that French flag, we're going to have to bring some guys back. For now, I'm going to move all my men towards the next fort. So we took the first one, definitely not without losses, but a victory is a victory nonetheless. Attaque, men! Oui, c'est très bien! Do not let any of them escape alive. Let's get a nice side view here of the gunfire. I love seeing the musketry from a side view. You see those rifles firing little by little. We'll actually put them on the volley fire mode. Although here, actually, fire at will is much better. And behind them, they've got the evidence of what could happen if they're not careful here with their shots. Fouillère! En avant! Beautiful. And as you can see, look at that! We got enemies running! They're retreating! They are retreating! Look at this! They are getting out of that chateau. We've actually got some shell shot exploding near them. And what shell shot will actually do is if it explodes in the air, all of those rounds are going to drop directly down. We've also got an interesting unit here. Let's get a look at these guys. Ew, who are you guys? So this is the 1st Battalion. Yeah, we've already killed 210 of their men. Just when they were turned away, it looked like they had some sort of interesting headgear there, but it was just their helmets on backwards, essentially. Why don't they kneel after shooting? That's actually a good question, Self-Searcher. That's a good question. I don't know why they didn't put in the kneeling mechanic, but I agree. I would have liked to see that. And also the ability to fire when kneeling would be pretty cool. So in other words, you have one volley of fire from the unit standing, one volley of fire from the units kneeling. Very, very neat idea, I think. Stop here. The enemy's just too close. In fact, we might even go for a charge. Go for it, boys. They're not going to get this close to us. How dare they get this close to us and expect us not to charge them. Those poor pixel troopin', I like that. Here we go. Come on, boys. Bayonets at the ready. You've trained at this for months. I know you can get this victory, guys. That's going to be a vicious battle. Bayonet combat must have been really brutal. And I'm sure the amount of mortal wounds, not even instant kills. You might be lucky on the firing line to get shot in the head, but in bayonet combat, if you get stuck in the stomach with a bayonet, you're going to be dying for days, and it's just going to be terrible. So there we go. I think we got them to retreat. Hopefully we got them to surrender. That would be an extra bonus. But right now they're definitely retreating. Did we get them to surrender? I'm not sure. We'll find out pretty soon here. If we did, they'll basically stop right there in front of us and just put their arms down. And yeah, it's definitely a nasty pile of bodies. Definitely a lot more of them than there are of us in terms of the dead. So that means that our boys did a very good job there. However, I do want to set up again and start firing once more at them. Although that was a nice charge. That was actually the enemy's fault. They should have never been in that position. They totally put themselves in that position. I mean, their unit couldn't move. Their unit couldn't shoot at anything. Of course we were going to charge. Of course we were going to charge. Alright, let's grab some men. I don't want to bring the general. I just want to bring the men at this point. Okay, courier message. The division of General Péchaud is in trouble. Order the division of General Vichery to advance. Okay, so now we may have gotten an additional division. I'm going to take a look. Let's see if we did get any additional divisions. I believe we did. Very cool. So that just goes to show you how long the game could take. Remember, this is one of the smaller battles, and we've still gained control from that division. We may have also gained control from this division. When the battle started, we just had the control of the west, but now they're trusting us with the east as well. So Self-Searcher mentioned, too bad there is no blood, but it's better for the entertainment factor. I'd like it as well, honestly. I'm not going to lie. I'd love to see blood. And speaking of Rome 2, yeah, I downloaded the blood mod for that particular reason. But I think it would have to be, if blood was ever introduced into this game with, let's say, a DLC or a modification, it would have to be realistic. We're using round shot here. It's not to say that round shot's not lethal, because it absolutely is. But, you know, a lot of Hollywood movies will have pools and pools of blood everywhere after a Napoleonic battle. More than likely, you would have an entry hole and a little bit of blood around the entry hole. Probably blood, you know, if the bullet went through, which is pretty unlikely with a round shot. You might have some blood on your back or something, but otherwise, it wouldn't be the bloodbath that, say, you'd see in World War I or World War II, except after an artillery barrage. In that case, things would still be pretty bloody, but in terms of gunfire, I don't think so. Self-Searcher, what about logs set on fire by wild barbarians? I love that. Well, you know, we were going to have those in the game too, but unfortunately, you know, the same issue Steam had with our Baguette Lancers, which is basically a crime against humanity. They said the same about the logs set on fire by wild barbarians. They were just not fans of that idea. I do like it though. Oh boy. Don't worry, one day we're going to get those Baguette Lancers represented in this game. Trust me, I mean, you leave a baguette outside in a really dry climate, leave that baguette outside for let's say 2 to 3 weeks, and go and hit somebody with it. Tell me that wasn't somewhat effective. I trust me, if you're riding on a horse with a baguette that's been sitting outside for 2 to 3 weeks, and you hit somebody with it, they're getting knocked out, or they're getting very badly injured. Those Lancers are not a laughing matter, boys. They're not a laughing matter. Very serious. A moment of silence for the Baguette Lancers. Well, we got close, Self-Searcher. You know, initially Russell Crowe was going to do the voice acting in the game. But then at the last second, he got into a fight with somebody and just all fell apart. All right, here we go. Get a nice volley here. I'm definitely going for the volley fire there. These guys have already lost a lot of men. The volley fire is also kind of a shock and awe technique. It's not necessarily more or less effective than fire at will, but the fact is when you're getting hit with an entire barrage at once, you're going to be shocked. You know, all your men are going to be shocked. It's going to be very loud. You're going to see a lot of men fall. It's a shock technique, to say the least. And during this time period, the Napoleonic time period, and somewhat beyond, this was very important. So let's go ahead, give them some volley fire. Boom! Of course, they already lost a few. The amount of men they have here down is pretty disheartening for the enemy. That's right, Pixel. Oh my goodness. That you've just touched upon what the counter to the French baguette was going to be, which was going to be the British tea brigade. And they're going to run around with little pots of tea, and anytime the baguettes would suddenly show up, they just throw their tea at them. But the tea's not warm or hot. The reason being, this is a gentleman's war. We're not trying to hurt anybody, okay? Kill, yes. Hurt, no. There is a difference. Keep firing! Somebody mentioned kill their general. So the thing about Scourge of War, Waterloo, and killing generals, it absolutely can happen. It's very rare that it happens from gunfire, and that was actually true to the time period. It was actually considered very dishonorable to just shoot a general off his horse. That being said, during this American Civil War, generals were shot off their horses all the time. So I think that's the reason you can't shoot them off. Now, one way you can kill a general in this game is usually through a bayonet charge. So the enemy general gets stuck in your bayonet charge, he gets knocked off his horse, and he's down. But as mentioned to us by Dogs of War, who knows a lot about this game, he's actually one of our biggest players, the general will respawn at the back of the map, so you can use him again. So it's almost as if he's been wounded. Now he's going to be cared for a bit, and then, of course, he's got to walk all the way back to the battle. But in most battles, if you have to walk all the way back, I'm sure you guys can imagine, you're going to lose a lot of the chance to win. You're essentially taking more time, and more time in this game is not good. You know, you're trying to take these locations as quickly as you can. Look at that. We still have not taken that location. Our men are moving up, though. You can see over there. It's just taking a long time, speaking of time, for them to get up here. Yeah, that's pretty true, Self-Searcher. Yeah, absolutely, Pixel. And that's why I mentioned the American Civil War. It wasn't always respected. And I'm sure even in Napoleonic conflicts, it wasn't always really respected. The only army where I could say it probably was respected would be the Prussian army. The Prussians were extremely focused and obsessed with orders. Also, they were extremely obsessed with chivalry. So I'm almost certain that if you were a soldier in a Prussian army and your commanding officer saw you target and shoot an enemy commander or officer, you could be court-martialed. I'm almost certain you could and probably would be court-martialed. It was not uncommon at all for Russian army soldiers to find themselves in front of a firing squad if they ran away from battle. Look at that. We just got some Prussians to run away. Sure enough. You can see there we did a nice number on them. A lot of boys down here. They are not looking good. I think maybe the medical corps should be called in. Just a thought. I think that would probably be the wisest decision right now. Bring in the medical corps. Of course, this is before people even knew about bacteria. So we'll just wipe that bullet wound with a bloody rag, and should be good to go. Oh, shell shot! That's what shell shot will do to you. Just exploded amongst a bunch of our men, unfortunately. That's right. Well said, Musso. Well said. Don't kill the horses. Now, I think killing horses is just fine. They don't. I'm pretty sure they don't care about the horses themselves, but just the general riding it. You'd probably be fine, for instance, to fire on a cavalry unit, but in terms of a general on his horse, it would be considered improper if you were just a regular soldier to shoot the general off his horse. Now, if you were another officer and both of your units were in bayonet combat, which once again pretty unlikely in these wars. It's much more likely for these volleys to go on for an extended period of time, and then one of the units would pull back, and this would continue. In the off chance that you did get into bayonet combat, I think one of the few ways you could get away with killing an enemy general and his horse is if you're an officer yourself and you kill him with your saber. I think that would probably be an honorable death. But even in that case, I'm not sure it would be respected, to be honest with you. Wow, Marshal Cambronne has said in 1815 the only army with a medical corps was the French army. That is terrifying. That is terrifying. Self-searchers, right? Yeah, hey, you gotta eat what you gotta eat. And in fact, there are places in France where horse meat is a delicacy. That's not a joke. That's the truth. Horse meat is actually considered a delicacy there in certain places. But I think it's region-based. I don't think it's all of France. I've certainly read about that, though. And there we go. These are the Fusiliers we charged initially, killed a bunch of them with our bayonets. Now we've set them running with artillery and regular volley fire. They are definitely on the run there. Poor guys. The Welfschis Landwehr Regiment, Henkel Brigade. Oh, that's really cool, Marshal. So Marshal Cambronne actually just shared a really interesting factoid with us, which is that Napoleon was popular with other armies because he took time after every victorious battle to take care of the enemy casualties. I think that's really good and very, very honorable. And I would say that these wars, to a degree, were somewhat more honorable than the wars we have today. Certainly more honorable than the wars like World War I and World War II that we had in the 20th century, where it was just basically anything goes. Here, had a little bit of a better chance at surviving in general, I think. Ah, very cool. All right, my friends. Well, we are getting to the end of the stream here. I know it's tragic, but I do have, unfortunately, a French Dragoon here, and he's got a baguette. He's holding it at my neck, and if I don't stop this stream soon, I do fear that he's going to just basically slap me in the face with a baguette, possibly try to kill me, but we'll have to wait and see. That being said, guys, thank you so much for showing up. I do want to wish everybody very, very happy holidays. As Musso stated, make sure to check out our deals during this holiday season. For those of you that don't know, we're also giving you guys double the sliths that you would usually earn. So I want you guys to be careful with these sliths. And we're doing this as sort of a holiday gift for you guys, so keep that in mind. This is definitely a game I would recommend. I would absolutely recommend Scourge of War Waterloo. If you're asking me what DLC to get, we're currently playing Ligny. So if you like what you see here, grab Ligny. But the one that I always recommend to new players is Wavre. The reason being, Wavre is a little Belgian town, and you get to play as the Prussians or the French. But if you play as the Prussians, you get to hold that town against an entire French army. And with only 4 or 5 brigades, it's really fun to try and make that happen. I think I've only succeeded at doing it once, and I've tried 5 or 6 times. It's a really tough one. Thank you, Musso. So Musso's going to be sharing our YouTube channels here, guys. Appreciate it very much, Musso. And we are going to go ahead and sign off, my friends. It's that time. It's that time, boys and girls. Alright, guys, thank you so much for watching. Once again, highly recommend you pick this up. Another thing to mention, it does have a multiplayer mode. This is definitely the kind of game that you want to buy. If you have a friend that plays it, buy it. Get a multiplayer game going. Let's see which one of you guys is actually the superior general. Thank you again, guys, and oh yes, now I'm sure the Napoleonic Wars in general were extremely bloody, especially once Napoleon started making his way to Russia. I guess what a more appropriate thing to say would be is there was sort of a gentleman's code of conduct. Not to say everybody followed it, but certainly they followed it a lot more than I would say they do in the more modern wars, where really it is just about anything goes. Dulcarnenses pour la patrie and pour l'empereur. I agree, my friend, I agree. Merci beaucoup. Ah, diseases. I don't think it is diseases. I consulted very much with le Dr. Pierre-Jacques François. and he told me that it is caused by witchcraft. So I think I will trust him. He is a doctor from 1811, and I trust him over you. But thank you anyway. I will consider your thing, but I think they die because of the witchcraft. It is tragic. All right, guys, take care. Thanks for watching.